It's a lot of pressure now.
It is a lot of pressure.
I feel like people want to
hear us talk about
say
things.
things about adoption issues. Like they're watching that.
Why? Why are you watching? No, I don't mean that. Please keep watching.
It's fine.
We've had a lot of response and a lot of views to our previous adoption video. You know, the top 10 questions that were asked as adopted Asians. And so we decided that we're going to do a little bit of a follow-up. 20 things to never say to an adopted Asian and our actual responses to them.
Who's your real mother?
Where are you from? I mean, really from.
You're adopted? Oh, I'm sorry.
Why don't you look like your parents?
Why don't your parents look like you?
What was your name before this?
Why didn't your first parents want you?
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
I bet you feel real lucky.
What was it like in the orphanage?
What is wrong with people? I've always wished I was adopted.
Are you sure you really want to know where you came from? I mean, what if it's bad?
But you were chosen. You were the chosen one.
You ever wish you could go back?
You know your parents love you like you're one of their own, don't you?
No one notices you look different from your family.
Well, that's all the past now.
I bet your real mother was so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. How much did you cost?
Why were you adopted?
What's it like being adopted?
So those are... people actually say those to other human beings.
Why?
That's tremendous.
Why would you say that to another person?
People are genuinely curious about these things. It's hard to hold it against them that they don't know how to express themselves in an appropriate manner. There's a little thing called tact. Just use a little bit of that. Like when you know me, maybe when we're good friends, then I'd be willing to answer these questions for you.
Number one, who is your real mother? I don't know.
Never met her. There's two ways that people define this, right? Like, when I talk about my real mom, I am typically referring to my mom, my adopted mom, the mom that raised me, as my real mom. That's my mom, right? When we talk about mother, the way that I'm usually defining it, I'm defining mother as the person who gave me genetic birth.
The life bearer.
Life bearer.
Life bearer.
Life bearer.
Well, do you ever want to meet her? I mean, if we pass each other on the street one day and she's like, hey, I'm your mom, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Sure.
I feel like that'd be weird.
It would be weird. Do I actively want to seek her out? I mean, you know, maybe one day. You know, I've talked to my parents a little bit about this, and you know, maybe one day I'll actively seek her out. If she's watching these vlogs, hey, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Okay, we answered this one. Where are you from? I mean, really from. We answered this one last time. That's an ambiguous question.
Korea. Leave it alone.
Gyeongsong Bakdo. I finally remembered.
Shin Shan Bakdu.
We did it.
So, number 3. You're adopted? Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you freaking sorry? What is it to you that I am adopted? Do I care about your opinion? Probably not.
That's just ignorance. I have no response to that.
So stupid. Why would you say this to people? Oh, you're Korean. I'm sorry. Oh, you're an ignorant jerk. I don't apologize for it. Probably can't put that in the vlog, but I might anyways. Stop being ignorant.
Why don't you look like your parents? Okay, well that one's pretty easy. We're not from here.
We've already explained this. His parents, super white. My parents, super white. Us, not super white.
Asian. So, why don't your parents look like you? What was your name before this? Megalodor, destroyer of worlds. I'm not telling you, that's none of your business.
Oh. What?
Why didn't your first parents want you? Never, just don't do it, guys. Never ask that question.
Don't ask this question.
Of any person, ever. But especially not an adoptee. 1, it's extremely personal. 2, most adoptees have not even begun to process that until they're adults. I have not even begun to process that until I turned probably 28, 29. And even then, it's still a very difficult thing to think about. So,
don't ask. It's not your business. It's between me and my mom, who is going to like, comment, and subscribe down below. I bet you feel lucky.
I haven't won the Mega Millions yet, so
I mean, how lucky can I feel? Like, I get hurt constantly, so I'm not really lucky. I've had like 8 concussions.
You get more concussions than any other person.
I've had like 8 concussions in my life.
I prefer the term blessed. Look, man, we beat the odds, okay? So whatever. But you were born, so did you. What was it like in the orphanage?
I can't even take this question seriously.
What is wrong with you?
Like, this had to have come out of somebody's mouth at some point.
It did. I have heard that. I've heard that before.
But what was it like living there?
Oh. Orphany?
Orphany. I got passed around from orphanage to orphanage, apparently, because I was a terror. You know, apparently they didn't want me all that much, and so I got passed around. So I got to see quite a few orphanages. I don't remember any of them. I wish that I was adopted.
Okay.
Why?
Your home life is not great, or like what's going on with that? Like, I feel like that's starting a conversation that maybe is more for a therapist. You really want to know where you came from? I mean, what if it's bad? I know where you came from, and it's not. Oh, jeez, that's terrible.
And this is funny because a lot of people do ask this question. One of the comments that we got was, you know, well, you didn't ask the question. You know, like, are you from North or South Korea? And it's hilarious how many people actually have to ask that question. If I'm from North Korea, I ain't here.
You maybe tunneled out?
Oh, yeah, as a 6-month-old baby, I escaped. You were chosen. You know, it's great because I was chosen, your parents are stuck with you. What?
I feel like I'm never witty enough in the moment, and my response to those is always just, that's supposed to make somebody feel better, I think, and it's not, I don't think.
No, it ain't happening. It ain't working.
Yeah.
Move on.
You ever wish you could go back? The food looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this in episode 8. Sure, as adults, we kind of, you know, we look at the different things in the culture and especially the food, and it's appealing to us. But the same goes with, you know, Japan. I really want to go to Japan. I really want to go to Thailand. I want to go to a lot of different places that have a lot of really good-looking food.
You know your parents love you like you're one of their own, don't you? Come on, guys. This idea of like you're one of their own, and I have heard this hundreds of times from very well-meaning people. I am not like one of my parents' own. I am their kid. No one notices you look different from your family. Yeah, they do.
They do. And if you don't, wow.
I just don't see people that way. Well, that's all past now.
It is past.
Everything previous to this moment is past.
That moment was now the past. I bet your mother was so beautiful.
Okay. I bet your real mother was so beautiful.
That was the creepiest thing that happened ever. Who is saying this?
I think that's supposed to be a compliment. I think they're telling me that I'm gorgeous because I am. I don't know what she looked like.
Me neither.
I feel like I'm not unattractive.
I like how I look. Thanks, Mom. Like and subscribe.
How much did you cost? You're just not supposed to be asked this question. The average adoption runs about $20,000 to $40,000, or at least it did when I was adopted.
Don't ask this question, like, ever. I mean, you don't ask people who are not adopted this question because everybody, if you go to the hospital to get born, you cost something to be born.
How much was your hospital stay?
So why were you adopted?
I didn't honestly ask my parents that until I was probably 24. And it's really none of your business. There's a myriad of reasons why people adopt. And it's really none of your business.
And there's another number of reasons why people adopt. You know, like the other question is, you know, like why... and this is something a lot of adoptees actually have to go through themselves is, you know, why were you given up as a child? And it's something that takes people down a deep, dark path a lot of the times. And if you don't want to be that jerk that brings up these horrible emotions that people are trying to bury deep inside, don't ask this question.
Or you're a trained therapist.
What is it like to be adopted? I like it.
Seems to be working okay.
But being adopted, honestly, is amazing. I love it. You know, a lot of people will say, you know, the other crazy questions that have been, you know, that have been asked and stuff. And honestly, it all comes to the point where I've decided myself that I love to be adopted. I love that I was, you know, chosen. I love that my family wanted me. And I love that my family loves me like they're one of their own. but the way that these questions are phrased are ridiculous because it's not something you would normally ask a person. But in my mind, I've had to cope with a lot of these things. I've had to be like, okay, so I was chosen, I was picked, I was blank. But I love it. I love the fact that I'm adopted.
Because of being asked all of these questions, that I had to come to terms with it so early. For those that are maybe looking forward to some of this stuff, heads up, the high school and middle school years are kind of rough because that's when all of this starts to come to light. That's when all of these questions start to come up and need answers because the questions are being asked. I wouldn't say that I probably had the maturity to answer those questions until much later in life, even probably until more recently in the last few years here. With good friends, those are questions that I would be willing to answer. But this is not anything that you should ever ask or bring up with somebody that you just met. And if you're curious, that's fine. We can afford to be curious without making terrible mistakes in judgment.
Don't be a jerk. That's what it boils down to. Don't be a jerk. Have some tact. We've been asked a lot of questions and hearing a lot of things about adoption. So Davo and I, being adopted Asians who are now adults living in this culture, also owning a business, we have a lot to say about it. And so we're going to be talking about some of those things along with a couple other things. You're going to see some special guests this week because he's leaving me.
Make it sound like we're a couple.
We are not a couple. Stop asking.